right, excellent. Well, it's wonderful to meet you again. Thank you for taking a minute out. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
You bet. So let's begin our journey into your good work by asking you this. 5 years ago, we were knee deep in this pandemic, figuring it out, so many unknowns. How did you survive the global pandemic, and how has it reverberated into the work that you do now?
Oh, yes. So that's a great question. So right there in the thick of the pandemic, my husband, which was pre-retirement age, he got let go.
Wow.
So we go, oh, okay. But what I noticed is they were so fear-based. There's so much fear everywhere. I don't watch news. I don't pay attention to that. I have a few news places that I'll go for where I trust.
Yeah.
But where I linked into is my daughter-in-law happens to be the chief lab medical officer at a local hospital. And I asked her about the stats and the reports, and that gave me truth.
Yeah. Yeah.
What was so upsetting is how fearful people were of each other,
Yep.
that they lost their ability to help each other. And I don't think we've actually recovered from that yet.
Probably not. Probably not. I think there's a lot of things that have happened to different sections of people in this country that is going to take a long, long time to recover, if ever,
Hmm.
you know?
I agree. Yeah.
So,
So what it did for me personally, it caused me to push harder,
yeah. Yeah.
to share, especially share my passions and my voice, because you could just feel the fear and of people.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's get into the heart and soul of what you do on a daily basis. I know you're a pastor, a podcaster, entrepreneur. There's a lot of things. But kids always pull the truth out of you. If I put you in front of a bunch of 12-year-olds at career day and the kid in the back of the room is like, hey, what do you do for a living? How do you answer them?
This is how I'd answer you. So, you know that video game that you play all the time? I'm talking to a 12-year-old. That video game that you play all the time. How would you like to go in with the superhero in your video game? And how would you like to hang out with him and share his power to help your family, to help your community? How would you like to do that? That's what I do on a daily basis.
So, what did you want to be when you were 12 years old? What was your dream?
I wasn't aware. I'm still not aware of what I wanted to be at 12. I didn't ask myself those kind of questions at 12.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, talk to me a little bit about the foundational elements that were planted in you. Take me back to your childhood. What were the things that have allowed you to evolve into this career to help people and to be in your capacity right now?
To be in my capacity, helping people live spiritually brave. I had to actually discover who I am today or in my mature years. And then I was able to go back and see myself and what portion of myself as a child that fed into who I am today. In a nutshell, that makes it interesting is so Jesus opened my spiritual eyes when I was about 35. And that changed my whole paradigm. And that took me about 10 years to figure that out.
Yeah.
Because when you can see, it changes everything. Went through the period of, okay, this is church as I know it. This is how church has always answered everything to me. Now this has happened. Nobody knows about this. When I talked about it, it made people very uncomfortable. And from that uncomfort, it put me through a season of being really quiet because, the people's reactions.
Yeah.
So from that, I developed confidence, maturity, and the ability to communicate spiritual things, just like that 12-year-old kid playing the video game.
Yeah.
that stimulation of wanting to be creative because we're really spiritual beings. So over that period of time, I developed the ability to communicate it and have confidence. And that's where I find myself today. Now I'm passionate about this stuff is so cool. I
Yeah,
mean, it is really, it's cool, it's interesting, and I'm very passionate about it. It's not freaky. I mean,
yeah,
yeah, it's different.
yeah,
It's different, but when people are talking scientifically, we are in a mindset change. Everybody wants to have a different mindset, and everyone's talking about all this. Okay, well, great, but go into it, really understand what it is that we're talking about here. Learn it, develop it. It's fascinating.
yeah. Who's been that inspiration for you that's allowed you to evolve into who you are today?
Inspiration, Jesus.
Is there a person though, other
I
than
had, yeah,
spirituality?
Jesus is a person.
Well, no,
Um,
I know. Yeah,
it-
I'm just saying, is there a human being in your life that led you to that revelation at 35 years old? Was there someone that helped you get there? No.
mm, I think my biggest hero would probably be my husband
Right.
because we were married 40 years ago and I wasn't really asking Jesus for his opinion
Yeah.
on how to do life.
Yeah.
And so he has weathered. I mean, all of a sudden you marry a cheerleader, and then all of a sudden she turns to a Jesus freak, and then she wants to go to church everywhere. And then I mean, he has weathered it very well, and he's my hero in
Yeah.
that sense because it's not normal.
Yeah.
It wasn't part of, this is what isn't what he signed up for.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I come back to the point, he's my best heart checker for the authenticity.
So let me ask you this. How do you balance everything out? The work that you do to help people, taking care of your own soul and your own self. How do you, what, is there a balance that you wake up to every day, or how do you do that?
Well, I get along with God, I get along with myself all the time. And that doesn't mean it's always quiet, peaceful. It means that he's invited to every portion of my day. I don't feel like, okay, I got to go have a devotion and prayer time because I can do that right here. It's everywhere. Everywhere I go, there's a conversation. If I'm upset, he's right there to talk to me about if I'm upset. If out in nature, he's right there with me. So there's not a separation that I have to go seek
Yeah. So what's the biggest risk that you've taken in life?
in life.
Yeah.
Probably talking to you.
Okay.
It is a risk. Like I
Yeah.
said, it is a risk to talk about with people about something that they're first they can't see it
Sure.
until I teach them, and then they're afraid of it. Or if you're coming from a religious perspective, they all think that you're going to get possessed. So they're going to cast it out of you. I mean, it's just it's the the distractions can be huge,
Yeah.
but I have so many testimonies that I could sit here and talk with you again and again and again. And so, what is more important? The testimonies that people's lives are getting changed because I believed God, that I believed what He was showing me and telling me. I mean, hello.
Yeah.
Or just because you don't understand, but this gives us an opportunity to understand. So when we start to talk about it and communicate it, then people go, well, this is interesting. But our curiosity that answers are present in our everyday comings and goings. How curious are you?
Yeah. Yeah. So let me ask you this. There's a lot of people when they hit that spiritual place in their lives where they have some level of divine intervention, they have an encounter and it
Uh-huh.
really wakes them up, like proof of God. Have you had that?
Yes, I would say almost on a daily basis. That's the cool part about it. That is you develop it. So I have a spiritual sense perception. People are feelers, they're seers. You develop them so that you can turn it on and turn it off.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's something that you develop with him in a relationship.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. If you had a dream tonight and ran into a much younger version of you, say 18 years old, you could give that young version of you a piece of advice based on this life you've lived, the wisdom you've accumulated over time. What advice would you give your younger self?
Don't shut Jesus out because I didn't ask him any questions.
Yeah.
I didn't think that he had the ability to, I'll use the word provide in my life.
Yeah.
Because the Jesus that I knew sitting in a pew growing up as a child got me to heaven, but I didn't see much authenticity with how does it inspire your life? How is it real? How is he tangible? When you pray, you want to see evidence and results. I didn't see that when I was growing up. I didn't know to ask the questions. It wasn't there. I mean, this is the Bible. This is what it says. This is what they say. There you go. Well, no, not exactly.
Yeah. So, there's a lot of things that have happened even since COVID that's been very strange in this country. Just the moods and modes and the way people are living and the things that are happening. Are you hopeful? Are you hopeful for human beings?
Oh,
That
absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. People, the reason why that you see such an infiltration of the mindsets and the frequencies and all that stuff is because people are really hungry for truth. They're hungry to know, they're hungry to actually solve problems with our world, solve problems with what we eat and nature and everything. I mean, we're stepping into an AI technology that's not going to go away.
yeah,
Well, when you think about AI, if you look at it prophetically, it is just what our relationship with God is supposed to be. Super intuitive.
yeah,
Super intuitive, be able to come here and go, and your spirit is that way. So it's giving us a tangible look at what our spirit is supposed to be capable of doing.
yeah, yeah. The one thing I remember years when I was in, like, I don't know, I was young, I was like 12 or 13 years old. The way that I came to a real spiritual crossroads is someone explained to me what hell would feel like if you were to go there for an eternity. What's your thought on how to persuade people to ask more questions and get to their spiritual crossroads? Because that seems pretty extreme. I mean, it freaked me out.
Oh, yeah.
So what would you recommend? Anybody that's listening or anybody that's out there, the best way for them to come into a world of asking questions and finding God and figuring themselves out. What do you think the best way is to do that?
It's way too simple. Go ask Jesus. And when you ask him to reveal himself to you, lay the question down and don't just lay it down and let it sit open so that it can be answered.
Yeah.
and then believe him. And when the answer starts to come, because it comes, he's already living in you. Whether you agreed with him or not, he's there. Sorry.
Yeah.
He doesn't need, he's such a good, God is such a good father that he didn't wait around for our agreement.
Yeah.
Nothing can separate us from the love of God, not even our perception of hell.
Yeah.
It says nothing. So ask him a question, ask him to reveal himself to you. Jesus has never expected somebody to believe he is who he is, believe that he's a savior without him actually proving himself.
So, of everything that you've done in your life, everything that you've evolved to, everything you've accomplished, what are you the proudest of?
Personally or family or kids or I mean there's
Any of
just
it. Yeah, any and all of it blends together.
that he trusted me to talk about this stuff.
Yeah.
I'm quite proud of that.
Yeah.
That he trusted me to with something. Yeah, well, I know the magnitude of it.
Yeah.
It can be overwhelming, so it's best for me just to keep like a kindergarten perspective.
Yeah.
Let's hold hands, take naps together, share, have communion, and play on the play. It's just easier to just keep it simple.
Yeah.
But when we can have a conversation about the spirit realm, about God, a conversation, then we can just change so many things. We can change ourselves.
Yeah.
Ourselves.
Yeah.
We can change the hurt from our neighbor. We can answer the homeless situation. We can change the disease that you see in nature. I mean, it's just it can be very mind-boggling. But unless you and I are willing to have a conversation about, what is truth, and let's go ask truth himself and let him put on the table what truth is. Okay, and then we have a choice. Do we going to apply that to our life or we not?
Yeah.
Apply that truth that he reveals to us to our life.
So at the end of the day, everyone has a perception of you. Family, friends, everyone that you're helping, everyone that listens to you, that knows you, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
Who do I think I am? That's a really good question.
Yeah.
I went through all your questions that you asked people and stuff, so I was prepared.
You're ready. Good.
Yeah, I wasn't ready for that one.
Right.
I did have a baseball story for you because you love
I want to
baseball.
hear it at the end. Yeah.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you
Yeah.
love this baseball story. What's my perception of me? That's what you're asking me.
Yeah.
I'm a world changer by the grace of God.
Yeah. Baseball story. What's I wanted a little bit of a pause there. I didn't know if you were going to add because sometimes people think with that question it requires a whole lot, kind of a dissertation, but sometimes the simplicity is the most profound part of that. A simple answer just wraps it all up. So we're in the thick of the baseball season. It's time for a good story. What do you got?
Okay, are you ready?
Uh,
Everybody, you have to put your curiosity hat on.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. You
Yes.
ready? Yeah. So your curiosity, and this is in my first book, so it has all the stuff in it. I
Yeah.
read back and I go, okay, do I remember the story well enough that? So I'm an avid journaler, so I have all those records and the timing and the all this stuff. So we're back there in the season of the World Series. I forgot to write down the year, but between the Chicago Cubs and the Indians.
Yeah.
So my husband's family are Chicagoans. They're serious Cubby fans, right? So this is going on. This is the series, and the Cubs are just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And I was cruising through social media and I saw this prophetic word come up on Facebook by a titled individual. And then all these people that said, oh, yeah, the Indians are going to win. This is why they're going to win. God's going to do this, da, 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 because God's trying to open up a movement for our Native American Indians. I went, oh, and that just sat in my craw for days. I went, what? Here's the Cubbies, they're in it. And I went,
Yeah.
now I totally agree that God moves and moves for our First Nations people.
Yeah.
That's not my issue. But I went, well, where's everybody? Did you ask God? And so because I chewed on it, I finally went, oh, okay, okay, okay. So I asked God, I go, did you say that? And he goes, no. And I asked him and he goes, I go, but this is just a baseball game, right? It's not supposed to be super spiritual. It's a baseball game. And I go, so should I do something about it? And he goes, well, do you want to do something about it? I go, well, so the first thing I asked him, what's his will? And he never gives you a solid answer. It's always a question back. He goes, what is my will? So what was his will? His will is for every baseball team. If you looked on their destiny scroll, excuse me, if you looked on their destiny scroll, you would find World Series written on every single one of them.
Yeah.
Okay, I know God's will.
Yeah.
And he goes, now what are you going to do? And I went, well, you know, it would really be a blessing to my husband's family and all those Chicago fans and everything if they finally won. I mean, it's been 108 years.
Yeah.
And Jesus goes, well, Kristen, you know what to do. And I went, that I do. I do know what to do. And so I Googled because I already knew what was the little hindrance that had been there for years and years and years. So I did my research, did a little Googling, and that lovely cursed goat thing just right up there. And he looks at me, goes, you know exactly what to do with that. And what's so insane? What if you Google it, all the things and crazy things that man tried to do to remove a curse. It
Yeah.
was crazy.
Yeah.
So I went into my prayer closet. I have experience with the courts of heaven. There's a few protocols that you learn to do, but basically it comes down to Father God, would you forgive us for partnering with this stuff? From witchcraft to this to that. And I go, would you forgive us for even allowing a curse regarding a goat and all the yada, yada, yada? Would you forgive us, please? That's as simple as it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, they won.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They won.
Yeah.
I never told anybody. I did write it in my book, and people might go, oh, well, yeah, mm-hmm. Okay. But I did know what to do with that.
Right. Yeah.
And it is that simple. But they won
Yeah.
after 108 years.
Yep. Absolutely.
And this Corvallis baseball mom from the Pacific Northwest, nobody knows anything outside of if you read my book or you happen to hear this podcast. But you think about it, okay, it's published now, and now people are listening to it on your thing. on your podcast, your listening family, sometimes we just get in our way
Yeah.
with our stuff and how we do life. We get in the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe because you have two baseball teams, both of them have the capability and have been practiced, and they both have the capability to be the winner.
Yeah.
Yes, it is a game. There's a measure of risk there. But
That's
you take,
awesome.
yeah,
Yeah.
I love the story. I mean,
Yeah. It's a great story. Yeah. It's a great
I,
story.
I just said, God, let's get rid of the goat thing, could we?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they won the year after the Royals won, so that was 2016. I remember it well, very well. So, if anyone wants to get your book, if anybody wants to reach out, they want to tune in, they want anything more, they have any questions, where's the best place for them to go?
Okay, so my book is the unfinished book. You can find it anywhere. My name is my website, so you can cruise through and snoop and da 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 da. My podcast name is Interviewing Jesus Podcast. Pretty simple.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm passionate about this stuff, and
Yeah.
and again, I am super passionate. I
And
got to tell you my baseball story.
I love it. I absolutely love it. And I love your passion. I love what you're doing. So thank you. Thank you so much. I'm glad we could reconvene and do this today. Thank you so much. It's been wonderful. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hello, friends. Joe Dimino here. I just wanted to let you know that after 30 years or so, I have finally released my first book of poetry through the mighty Spartan Press here in Kansas City, Missouri. As the creator and host of both Neon Jazz Radio and the Famous Interviews with Joe Dimino podcast, along with being a visual artist, I'm ready to embark on a new adventure and want you to be a part of it. You can get a copy online via Barnes & Noble, Amazon, and actually on the streets in Kansas City at the great Prospero's bookstore off 39th Street. You can also visit joedimino.com for links to the book, to more poetry, and everything in my world, including paintings. Thanks for all of the love and support over the years, and please dig the words.